Yeah, we've got ourselves a trade. I can't do it like Trey. Welcome to No Dunks, presented by FanDuel. I'm here to break down an emergency trade. Yeah, this is for the sickos. There's no doubt the three-team deal between the Hawks and the Mavs and the Thunder. It's not a huge trade, but this is hardcore stuff. I got excited when I saw it. I'm recording during the World Cup finals. That's what we do here on No Dunks. I know, it's nuts, but I had to. Yeah, I hear what you're saying here in the stream team. Lu Dort ain't worth it. Come on. These three teams, they made a move here. Okay? Okay? They're changing things up. They're trying to get better. So just a quick breakdown. The Hawks get Lu Dort from OKC and Ryan Nembhard from the Mavs. The Mavs get number one pick in 2024, Zaccharie Risacher from the Hawks, and OKC, they get their 3 second-round picks in this deal. Lu Dort leaving OKC. Let's just start there. From their side of things, I'm not seeing a lot of former NBA champion Lu Dort in the headlines right now. Huh? Disrespectful. What the Thunder did, though, they picked up his team option for next season and turned him into assets, into 3 draft picks, instead of just letting him go and saying, all right, just go ahead, turn him into 3 picks. I wonder now for OKC, who replaces Lu Dort? Is it just Alex Caruso being inserted into the starting lineup instead of being their 6th man? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think they go that way. I think they'll play things, you know, by the ear, just by the seat of their pants, as Mark Dagnall does. He'll change it up. Maybe it's Kenrich Williams. Maybe it's Cason Wallace. I know that's a lot smaller than Lu Dort, but during his exit interview, he was adamant that he wanted to start. I say adamant. The guy is not that adamant. He's not that outgoing, but that's what he said. He wanted to start. I mean, you can go in many different directions. You can go Jared McCain. You can go AJ Mitchell, also part of that 24 draft that Zaccharie Risacher went number 1. AJ Mitchell in the 2nd round. I mean, they basically picked Kenrich Williams, Thomas Orber, Nikola Topic, Bennett Sturts now, Adai Mara, who they picked as replacements. And what this does for the Thunder is save them a ton of money. They're now below the second apron, so they can make moves, but also that money is over 80 million in luxury tax dollars, according to our man Keith Smith. So that's what they did. Just an interesting thing from their side of things, because they want to be the next one that comes out of the West. If they weren't injured at the end of their Spurs series, maybe they get there if Jalen Williams and AJ Mitchell are healthy. But they have to save money. Every single team, no matter if you're a champion or not, gets hit by this new CBA. Parity is where it's at. So that's where they are. Let's go to the Atlanta Hawks. Let's see. I'm interested what everybody thinks if they are the toughest team now in the National Basketball Association. Because you have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels, and Lu Dort. That's some tough stuff. I'm not sure if Lu Dort starts on this team because they have CJ McCollum there. Your 1, 2, 3 that are sort of alluded to with Nickeil Alexander-Walker, CJ, and Dyson Daniels. And you got to start Jalen Johnson at the 4 and probably Onyeka Okongwu at the 5, unless you go really small with Lu Dort at the 4. But I do think there's a chance that Lu Dort does start beside Dyson Daniels, your 2, 3, and then CJ McCollum finishes games over Lu Dort, just like what happened with the Thunder. Lu Dort may start, but he doesn't necessarily end games. He's just kind of there as a placement. But that's what it is right now. This is a very interesting team. I mentioned Onyeka Okongwu at the 5. You got to get bigger to be real tough. I know Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Dyson Daniels, and Lu Dort, if they're in there as their 1, 2, 3, that is tough. But Onyeka Okongwu is undersized. As much as I love my Jock Landale, who's extremely tough, he is more of a backup player. And I do think Henry Visar, exciting stuff there for the Hawks as a future backup that they drafted in the second round. Sure, exciting stuff. Zuby Ejiofor looked good in summer league, but undersized. Mogay now injured. Asa Newell, they got to get a little bit bigger. But either way, the Hawks are an interesting stuff. It's like the front office there just keeps things fluid. All right, we got a 1 year player here in Lu Dort, and maybe he's gone at the end of the year. Who knows? You're like Kristaps Porzingis that they traded for with a 1 year deal, and then we'll move on from there. So I'm moving along here, quick pace, because there is a soccer game to watch, and we will get to a full-on show tomorrow. I'll get to that a little bit later. Also, the Hawks save some money. They're under the luxury tax, and they get Ryan Nembhard, as I mentioned, who is more of a real backup type player, as much as I want to get excited for another Canadian player. When you've got Nickeil Alexander-Walker and CJ, who's there, along with Dyson Daniels, who can handle the ball a little bit, to go along with our Kingston Flemings, Ryan Nembhard is taking a back seat. So we will see what Lu Dort can do. Still a young guy, a very young guy, and he can sign a long-term deal. I want to Google before I say that he's 27 years old. But he is 27 years old, born in Montreal, Quebec. He's got a long time to still show himself in the NBA. I see you here, Detnibble 9361. You're saying Lu Dort will fall into obscurity. Now, I say nah. That's crazy. I do think he can still play for a long time in this league. I think he fits more on the Hawks right now because of the depth on OKC. But again, I don't think he necessarily is a 30-minute player on this team. He just can play his chunks, come on in, hit threes, obviously be great defensively, get into that two-lane or that mid-range to shoot his twos, let it go on the decline, which is crazy that he lets it go as he jumps down. But I do see he's got a future here in this league. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's get to Dallas and what they did. Because as you said here, Alan, Masai Ujiri dreams of long wings at night. That's what Masai Ujiri has done here, getting Zaccharie Risacher, the #1 pick in 2024. He was the Rookie of the Year runner-up to Stephon Castle. What can this guy be? Because yeah, he peaked essentially when he won the runner-up behind Stephon Castle, because last year wasn't all that good. It's such a question for him. What is this guy as his ceiling? We can hope, I think at best, to be a Mikal Bridges with the Knicks, essentially. To be a guy who plays with good players and can get a swing from the corner and get into the paint and throw it down, because Zaccharie Risacher, really athletic guy, occasionally get into the mid-range and let it go and play really good defensively. Mikal Bridges, I think, is above the level of Zaccharie Risacher could ever be defensively. There's no doubt, but I think you're looking for that type of player. I think more realistically, I think we're talking about a Nicola Batum at the end of his career type of guy. More of a guy who knew that he couldn't be a go-to guy throughout his career with the Portland Trailblazers or Charlotte, and then decided, all right, I'm going to be the swing guy, let it go, play defense. But here we are with Zaccharie Risacher, who looked like he expected to be a little bit more or have a bigger role with the Atlanta Hawks. Didn't get that because the touch just wasn't there with Risacher around the rim. An average three-point shooter. He was totally fine at that. But hopefully he can find a little bit of, okay, this is what my role is here with the Dallas Mavericks, as they say. Man, we are just getting shooters after shooters after shooters. There's so many shooters around Cooper Flagg. They've done so much this offseason. They've got Marcus Sasser, Santi Aldama, Risacher, Tarek Beveridge, Beberovic, excuse me, from Fenerbahce, who was really, really good. I think we said on a show recently when they got him in that trade with the Pistons where they got Marcus Sasser that this guy could be good. Maybe he's just we'll just keep him over there in Turkey, but nah, they signed him to a long-term deal, and as Keith Smith said, quote, the most plug and play Euro the NBA has seen in years. He's ready to be a rotation guy on day one with his shooting. So there's lots of shooting. Um, as that scout said, around Cooper Flagg now. This team is really, really interesting. They're breaking it down in Dallas. Masai Ujiri saying, our prince, our king, in the future, as he called Cooper Flagg, him and Kyrie are basically the only untouchables, but I could see guys like Clay, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, maybe even Najee Marshall be tradable at this point because it's Flagg, Kyrie, Max Christie, Morez Johnson, who looked awesome in Summer League, Santi Aldama, Risacher, Beberovic, Sasser, Sergio De La Rea, Musa Cisse, who they just matched his restricted free agency offer from the New York Knicks. That's a good move. I always get my Musas mistaken. Is he a Cisse or is he a Diabate? Because Musa looked just as good at times as Diabate did in Charlotte. That guy can play really, really hard. So that was a good pickup to keep him around after having him on a two-way deal last year. And they've got Omax, Olivia Maxence Prosper, and that's it. I'm not sure if Clay, PJ Washington, Gafford, or Najee Marshall stick around with that team. They may move on from all those guys as they get super young, and Masai Ujiri is given the rights to just clean everything out around Cooper Flagg, his prince, his king. I really hope for Zaccharie Risacher that he can be better because he is a talented guy. He doesn't really have the ability to put it on the floor and create. So that's why I threw in that Mikal Bridges as a dream, a hope that he can get into that range of player. But I think even at 21 years old, the people that were drafting the scouts, they knew that he didn't have that ability, didn't have that touch. So I would hope more that he is more of a just hang in the corner, like what Nicola Batum kind of does towards his end of his career, towards a point where he was capable of being a top guy. So hopefully he can fall into that range playing around Cooper Flagg, who's got so many shooters around him. I threw out this question to my friend Seb. Who do you think is going to have a better career when all is said and done? Zaccharie Risacher or Andrea Bargnani? They're different, very different. Andrea Bargnani, very talented guy who could get into the mid-range and let it go. Zaccharie Risacher, he can let it go from three, but he doesn't have the creation that Bargnani did. Man, this must be the off season because I'm praising Andrea Bargnani, but it's an interesting comparison because they're both number one picks that didn't really play to the capability of a number one player. It's young, it's very early for Zaccharie Risacher, but here we are comparing those two guys where hopefully Risacher can elevate his defense because that's what he's going to be asked to do around Cooper Flagg and continue to let it go from three. Something Bargnani wasn't asked to do. Yeah, was asked to shoot threes, but he's also just asked to be, hey, you're the offense for several years. And that's what Risacher, unfortunately, I think he thought he was going to be, but he doesn't really have that type of game to create. So if he could be more of a three and D guy like Batum realized, then that's what you got. You got a solid guy around Cooper Flagg. Again, that team is interesting in Dallas. Masai Ujiri tearing that thing down. And they're under the luxury tax, even after matching Musa Cisse's contract offer from the Knicks. So that's what they are. You get a Beberovich, you get a Risacher, you get an Omax, you got a Cisse, you got a De La Rea, and you obviously have some of the best names in the National Basketball Association. So, hey, listen, I know this wasn't a huge deal, but I had to think about it and share some thoughts. We'll be back tomorrow. My plan is to break down all the fun stuff that happened with LeBron James in his career. And I'm not talking about the basketball stuff. I want to get into, I want to make a list of all the cool things, the stuff that we will remember for LeBron James. Yeah, hit that like button. As Det Nibble 9361 said, I'll be back tomorrow to let everyone know what this LeBron idea is, because I'm not 100% decided on what the title's going to be, but I will get back to respect everything LeBron did off the court, because where we are right now in the world, there's so many things just hitting us. Sometimes we forget everything that this guy put together over 23 years. 23 years. And if you want to count his high school career, I may even go back to include something here or there, but we'll get into that before LeBron decides where he goes, because that is super, super fun. I'm sure that will happen this week. So I'll be back tomorrow to talk about that. Before I go, sad news for the Toronto Blue Jays. Dwayne Ward passed away. He was a longtime reliever. He was so good. Set up Tom Hinkie in the 92 World Series run, and then 93, he was the guy. He was the closer. He had a ton of saves. I think he's got the most saves in Blue Jays history. Is it a single? Yeah, I think he does. He was the winning pitcher when Joe Carter hit that home run in 1993 to win the World Series. Sad news this weekend as the Jays were celebrating the World Series wins, and unfortunately Dwayne Ward could not be there as he passed away. So thoughts with the Dwayne Ward family. That's it. That's a quickie for everybody, but I'll be back tomorrow to chat it up. Right now, I have no idea what's happening in the World Cup, but I got to go watch that. So for now, it's the Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, pan con tomate is the best snack for a World Cup final that involves the Spanish soccer team. Gotta go eat that. I gotta go. I'll see you tomorrow. We will talk LeBron, non-basketball stuff, all right? Unless he's traded. LeBron, let us know. We'll see you tomorrow.